Hello everyone. We want to start doing one-on-one matchups and talk a little about those. So today we're going to do Jax versus Shen. We're going to talk about how to play the matchup and everything. First, let's start with the runes. The runes you want to use are these. So for the runes you want to go Conqueror, Triumph, Alacrity, or Tenacity depending on the enemy jungler. If they have a lot of CC, you might want to go Tenacity. If they don't, you want to go for the attack speed and Alacrity. And then last you go Last Stand. Second tree you want to have Magical Footwear and the Warp or Time Warp Tonic. Now, in the small runes, you want to have either attack damage or attack speed in the first one. The second one, you have attack damage, and the third one, you have armor. I think the most optimal is having alacrity over here, and then you go attack damage in the first one over here. But if you don't have alacrity, if you go for tenacity for whatever reason, then I would recommend you to go for attack speed in the rune, because you kind of need one of those two. Jax versus Shen, you want to build Blade of the Rune King first. Then after Blade of the Rune King, you want to go for Black Cleaver. Now the reason for that is because when you're playing as a Shen, and there's often another tanky unit on the enemy team, could be the support or the jungler, you generally want to have this. You could go for Trinity Force if they don't have other tanks, but mostly Black Cleaver is pretty good. Now the thing is, you want to focus on split pushing against the Shen, take control of the split push, and then maybe roam in a team fight, but mainly you focus on the split pushing. So you want to have a build that's good for split pushing, which is why I recommend this one. After you get the Cleaver, you want to go for Styrke's Gauge, or for Death Stance. Now, if you want to split push further, you go Death Stance. But if you want to start team fighting a bit more, at this point in the game, you're like, yo, my team is really strong, we're winning fights, we're strong in them, then go for Styrke's Gauge. And if you don't think you're winning team fights, well, Styrke's Gauge isn't the one you need, you should go for Death Stance in that case. Then after you have Death Stance or Styrke's Gauge, you buy the other one, and then as the last item, you just buy whatever you need. It can be a Guardian Angel, it can be a Titanic Hydra, it can be many things, it can be a Thornmail, whatever you need. When you play Jax vs Shen, there's some things that are important to note. The first one is, if he throws you his sword with Q through you, he's going to win the trade. You don't want that to happen. So if he does that, you want to E, stun him, and walk out afterwards. At level 1, you can do that. Now, whoever pushes is depending on the Shen. You don't get to choose. If you can push, you don't mind pushing. Pushing is fine, but mostly he's going to push you. So just do whatever he does and respond to it in that way. If you can't push, do it. If you can't, then it doesn't matter too much. And either way, you'll be fine regardless. Alright, now generally the way you want to trade with Shen is you want to have really long trades, so you want to try and chase him down after you actually start trading. But you need to make sure he already used his abilities. So in this instance, we see Shen chasing me a little bit. He used his Q to get his shield. The second his passive is down, I'm like, yo, I can go on this guy. I'm going to get my E back up in 6 seconds, so I can start fighting him when it's down. So you see his passive goes down, I just start running him, hit him as it goes down. And then I'm just chunking him down all the way, activating my E, letting it run the full duration. And I keep hitting him, dodging his passive and getting out. Sure, I could maybe have done another hit, but then I'll take a grass proc. And I'll take his passive damage, which is humongous. Alright, so now the combo that Shen wants to do is generally, he wants to get his sword through you, hit you, and then taunt out when you use your taunt or stun. And you guys can see it here, I'll show you guys what he's doing. He walks in, he hits me after the things, and then he taunts away. And I'm absolutely useless, I can't do anything in that instance. That's generally how he wants to play. So he always wants to walk through you, hit you, damage you, and then taunt away with you going through him. Alright, now we have the way Jax wants to trade. Jax generally wants to do short trades where you auto attack W or you just W and then E and then walk out afterwards. You do a short trade, you chunk him a little bit, and then you play passive till your E is back up. Right now you're vulnerable, you don't want to take damage, you have to sacrifice a few creeps maybe. It's okay to do so, it's not a big deal. Just make sure you play the fights properly. Now here's your power spike. Once you get level 6, you start getting a power spike and you start actually being able to damage him down and chunk him. You could do this earlier, but it's a lot harder to do so. Now the way you want to do this is, as I talked about earlier, you want to do long trades if you can, without him having abilities. But the thing is, when you get to this point, you can actually fight him. But what you need to stop is you don't want him to taunt through you. If he taunts through you, then he wins. But the thing is, there's a window for that, right? So if he does it too early, then you can jump on him afterwards, or he might not even get far enough, as in this instance. And then you can just beat him up, and you can just keep going and going and going, and you're going to chunk him down. Now, the normal instance is you don't want to be taunted through at all. He taunted too early, and that's why he's losing. He should taunt after about 1 second, or a little bit less than 1 second, and then it's much better for him. Alright, so now this is later in the game, but this is an example of the perfect way to fight him. You can do this at any time after you get level 6, but the thing is, a lot of Shens are going to try and stop you from doing this kind of play, but if you outplay him, this is possible. What you want to do is you want to activate your E, you want to walk outside of him so he can't taunt through you, and as you can see, every single time I'm taking a step back, hit him, step back, hit him, step back, because I don't want him to walk into me and then taunt away, because that way he wins the fight. As long as I can keep my distance and I can keep chunking and chunking and chunking, I win the fight hard, and you see him going really low on health while I'm a lot healthier. This is generally how you always want to try and take these fights. Chunk, 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 stay away from him, don't let him go into you, and then just keep winning from the distance. And you can use your W to get a little bit more range on your auto attacks to have a little bit more distance from him. Anyways, guys, that's it for the matchup guide. I hope you guys like these. They're going to be very, very short, heavily edited. And leave a comment, tell us what you think. Also, we have matchup sheets that you guys can find if you subscribe to me on twitch.tv. And these we give out for a lot of different matchups. We have Jax almost completely filled in. We have Camille almost completely filled in. Camille's made by a Camille OTP. So those are really good. Anyways, peace, boys.